Hi again. In Bede Frost, Some Modern Substitutes for Christianity, published in 1942. We've already done one segment on theosophy, dwelling on the statements and beliefs of Madame Blavatzky and Annie Besant. And now he continues the discussion specifically about reincarnation and their view of man and his destiny. In the two preceding instances, we have stated the Christian doctrine first and then that of theosophy. In coming to the question of human nature and its destiny, in which the theory of reincarnation is involved, it will be more convenient to reverse this method. According to Mrs. Besant, the self, that which we call I or me, the ego, is a part of God fallen into matter, an individual encased in the outer shell of personality. The good lady has got her terms mixed. It is personality, that which makes us persons, which is individualized in matter. More picturesquely, she tells us, quote, the one willed to multiply, and multiplication must necessarily mean division, and therefore limitation, and that limitation implies imperfection. Thus God is spoken of as a fire, but the universe as a spark, and human beings as millions of sparks from that illimitable flame. Hence it follows that the spark is of the same nature as the flame. Thou art that. The self in man is identical in nature with the self which gave it birth. She proceeds to trace the evolution of man, which consists in the acquirement by the ego of experience gained in repeated incarnations, in successive personalities. Does she mean individuals? And these individual or successive personalities through which it lives and acts on the subjective plane. The final goal of this evolutionary process is the complete assimilation of the ego with spirit, of manas, the spiritual intelligence, the ego in man, with atma buddhi. According to other exponents of theosophical doctrine, the ego evolves out of its earthly, body-bound state through successive reincarnations into a consciousness, first, of its identity with Brahma, the divine intelligence, then with Vishnu, the divine love, and finally with Mahaveda, pure being. Only as the self that is God is enfolding within you will the self that is God without you manifest to you the full glory of his life. Here let us note that any Christian who is familiar with the truth that man is created in order to attain to union with God, and also with the description of the way to and the fulfillment of that union, as is given by the great mystics of the Church, may be led to think that the teaching given in the above quotation differs only in the language used from that of the Christian mysticism. But the similarity is apparent only, as we shall see in a moment. The reasons for the successive reincarnations of the ego are threefold. First, the brief space of one human life is insufficient for the acquiring of that experience which is necessary to the fulfillment of its destiny. Second, that it is also insufficient to enable the law of karma to be worked out to its inevitable end. Thirdly, only by the doctrine of reincarnation is a satisfactory explanation offered of the inequalities and injustices which exist in the world. In order to understand the evolutionary process by which man gains the experience necessary to attain to his final end, it must be known that human nature is made up of 7 constituent parts, 4 of which belong to his physical, 3 to his spiritual nature. They are 1. Rupa, the material body; 2. Prana, the vital principle of physical life; 3. Linga Sharira, the astral body; 4. Kama Rupa, the physical desires and passions. These form the physical nature, the personality. Note again the wrong use of the latter term. 5. Manas, the intellect; 6. Buddhi, the immaterial soul; 7. Atma, the spirit. These make up the individual in theosophical language. Another and more widely accepted classification of the 7 parts is 1. I think this is Statula Sharira, the physical body; 2. Linga Sharira, the etheric double of the physical body; 3. Kama, the astral body; 4. Manas, lower manas, that is, the mental body, 5 higher manas, the causal body, 6 buddhi, the future, buddhic body, 7 atma, the perfected nirvanic body. The process of the evolution of this weird being begins at the creation of the individual ego, who at that moment, according to the second classification, is composed of the first of the above 5 parts. At death, the physical body returns to dust, whilst the etheric double hovers around for a time and then slowly disintegrates, leaving only the astral body attached to the manas. In this condition, it passes into a state named Kamaloka, wherein the astral body disappears, and one cannot help thinking of a striptease act. The astral body disappears. What still remains undergoing certain transformations which fix it for the heavenly plane of Devachan, in which for some 1,500 years or so it gathers up and weaves into mental and moral faculties the useful experiences and good acts of its past life on earth. In this happy, reflective, and developing state, he or it perceives his imperfection and finally decides to return to this world and attempt another experience of earthly life. So, with the aid of certain preternatural beings known as Lepikas and Maharajas, he re-enters upon a new earthly life, having no memory of the past save when in a trance-like condition, or on rare occasions when he may experience the sensation, I have been here before, or I remember this or that event happening to me. He does not, that is, re-enter this life equipped with and conscious of his past experiences, so that he can make use of them, but only that the inexorable law of karma may be worked out. It is pertinent to ask if you or I have successively inhabited the bodies and lived as, say, a slave or a prince in Babylon, a philosopher or a shepherd in Greece, a patrician or a soothsayer in Rome, a Christian or his persecutor in the empire, a Norman soldier or his female captive, for sex may be changed, and also have spent several periods in Devachan, and yet cannot now, in our present incarnation, remember any of this, save in the vaguest way, what on earth has been the good of it all? The theosophical answer is that so only may a man's karma come to its inevitable end. Next time, what then is this law of karma? Put in a link to the Christian answer to all of this. When Paul went to Athens, where there were any number of gods and any number of theories about life after death and the future, as well as the view of annihilation. The skeptical Greek, of course, had no particular religious commitments, but most people did, or at least attachments. So when Paul went to Athens, what did he say to all of them at the same time? And the answer is, he preached the day of judgment. He did not preach second chance, as Nelson Barber, Charles Taze Russell, and now Jehovah's Witnesses do. Second chance, or infinite chances, as reincarnation seems to suggest. So Paul in Athens actually has 3 videos. The first one is entitled "What J.W. Org is Not Telling You About the Day of Judgment," and I'll also attach the playlist from which that is a part. What J.W. Org is Not Telling You. See you soon.